Bonsai Garden Visit at Johan Boertes in Bloemfontein. My name is Liam O'Flaherty, and in the last week of May 2026, I drove from my home Pretoria to Bloemfontein. I used the opportunity for this video to film some of the very interesting trees of Bloemfontein and to interview Johan Boertes of the Bloemfontein Bonsai Kai to get to know him and his bonsais a little bit better. Hope you enjoy it. I've just arrived in Bloemfontein and I'm at what was champion tree number 30, a collection of cedars and cypresses that were planted in front of these government buildings on President Brand Street. The early 2000s saw a very unfortunate decline in the tree's health, which might have been due to renovations that were happening in this building. The historical trees here were planted from the late 1800s onwards. Some of them were planted in actual fact by Lord Milner, and Lord Milner, apparently the reason how I got my middle name because of my family's ties with him. It's unfortunate that Bloemfontein does not have any champion trees, but I will try to film the stumps of what were champion trees number 30 here in Bloemfontein. Heinrich has just pointed out to me that just behind me you can see still a cypress left and the remains of one of the cedars. From a sad story to a story of life. The ginkgos behind me at the SARS office in Bloemfontein were planted by the very well-known bonsai grower Denise Krieger. It was just a wonderful moment and opportunity to capture these trees as they present their amazing autumn color. Perhaps these trees in future could replace the deceased trees as new champion trees of Bloemfontein in future. Good day, my name is Liam O'Flaherty. It is the 25th of May 2026 and I'm here in Bloemfontein on a warm, mild, sunny winter's day. I'm here at the personal collection of my host, Johan Boertes of the Bloemfontein Bonsai Kai. And Johan, thank you very much for having me here.
You're welcome, and I'm so glad to meet you, and I hope your stay will be as enjoyable for you as it will be for me.
Oh, thank you. I've always had a good time here in Bloemfontein. Thank you so much, Johan. Johan, let's kick it off. Tell me a little bit about your history in bonsai and your journey up until now.
Yeah, my history in bonsai started approximately 45 years ago. During that time, I've met with world-famous bonsai masters, and I'm so blessed to have bonsai masters in Bloemfontein as well.
Yes.
I hope to see you in October at Congress.
Bloemfontein being the central region of South Africa. Yeah, you guys always hosted a lot of conventions, and you would have had the opportunity then to meet a lot of presenters and guests.
That's correct. And that is where I meet bonsai masters like the late Louis Nel.
Yes.
And he was well known for being the Buddleia king in South Africa,
yes,
or maybe in the world.
Yes.
And people like Charles Saronia.
Yes. What inspired you to start with bonsai?
What inspired me was a photo, a picture.
Yes.
In a library, browsing through books, and eventually, time on hand, ended up in the hobby section in the library. And paging through a bonsai book immediately struck me, what a beautiful little tree in a pot.
So then after seeing the picture in the book, how did you go about getting started?
We were in the construction business in those days. Wherever we were doing trenches and there was a tree, it goes into a pot. and I started doing bonsai all by myself. I thought at that stage that I was a bonsai master, and I consider myself as a master. Eventually, we moved up from Welkom, Free State Goldfields area, to Bloemfontein, and I meet a bonsai master in a shopping center on a Saturday morning. And in the corner there was this lady with a table and a few bonsai trees, as well as scissors, wire, stuff that she was selling there. And she was doing a demo. And of course, myself being a bonsai master, I thought, well, let me just have a chat with this lady. She introduced herself to me as Dot Hennigan, and I asked her if it's possible for her or anyone to come and have a look at my bonsai trees. In any case, about 2 weeks later, she was there coming to pay me a visit, and also she wanted to see this bonsai master and she wants to see the trees. She spent about 10 minutes in my garden then, and her only response was, I would suggest that you consider joining our club and do a beginner's course whenever. Of course, that we did.
Okay.
And eventually those 10 trees ended up 75 millimeters high.
Okay.
After Dot Hennigan got hold of that. That was my start in bonsai.
Johanna, I asked you to choose some trees that were special to you in your collection, and you've chosen Buddleias. And don't you want to tell me a little bit about why you chose them? And tell me a bit about these trees.
Yeah, the Buddleia is probably, in my view, one of the difficult species to grow, and they are also the species, I would say, reward you with excellent features. On your left there, the weeping willow style was something that the late Louis Nel taught me. They are so easily available in our areas. If you can get to a farm or a hillside or anywhere, even here in Bloemfontein, everywhere you will spot the Buddleia.
Because they're also going to be very tolerant of like your rather extreme climate here in Bloemfontein, being very cold winters and very hot and dry summers.
Yeah, that is another feature the Buddleia loves.
The other advantage that you have in this region for Buddleia is that the deadwood is durable, and the deadwood would hold, because growers by the coast or more at sea level, the deadwood rots away. I mean, if we have a look at this Literati one of yours, how old is that deadwood?
Oh, the deadwood itself, more than 30 years.
Yeah. And how long ago did you decide to style this tree in a weeping style?
That was done on a congress in Bloemfontein, which Louis Nel also was one of the demonstrators there, and must be also in the region of 30 years, 35 years maybe.
And when I got here, it was this tree that you were thinking about exhibiting at the mini convention that your club's holding in October this year.
Yeah. That's the one. and the olive that I've showed you, maybe, and this small little olive, which has also a story behind it, and that is one why I say it's one of my favorite trees.
I think we should go get them. Johan, this was the other special little olive of yours that you wanted to tell us about that you were also considering exhibiting in October.
And this old lady, she had this tree, and then she passed away, and her daughter got hold of my telephone number, and she phoned me, and she asked me if she can bring me a tree because her late mother was caring for this tree for 30 years plus without doing anything except sunlight and water, and that was that. Eventually, the tree ended up with me. Every time I look at this tree, I said to myself, one day I'm going to exhibit you and I'm going to show the world that a tree like this can survive under conditions which is unreal. But I've never seen a tree that can survive the conditions that this tree was for more than 30 years. And I'm going to treat this tree for as long as I'm still here. And I hope my children or whoever take this tree after I'm gone, they will feel the same as I feel about this little tree.
Johan, another tree that you're considering showing at the convention is this olive over here. And did you want to tell us about this olive?
Yeah, this olive was dug 25 years ago, approximately. And the story behind this tree is that we were out in the veld on a koppie and a semi-mountain, and we were looking for olive trees. Eventually we ended up in an old overgrown graveyard, and on one of the old graves was this tree planted there especially for the victim that lies there. And I thought, well, I am going to give this poor soul a second life. And I dug the tree from a grave.
It's a very beautiful tree. I'm sure that it's going to make it on the show. But I wondered if it didn't want to maybe stay at the grave where you found it.
Yes, I was wondering about that as well, but be assured, I never had any sleepless nights because I took it.
Bloemfontein's hospitality has always been great because I'm leaving here with two gifts, and one of which is this book that you've given me of yours. And please tell us about this book.
This must be one of the biggest and most precious birthday presents I ever got, and especially coming from my grandchildren. The story behind this book is that my children over years always said, please Dad, just put something in writing for us, that we can have something for our children and their children. Just tell us something, but do it in writing, please. So I always said to them, that is one thing that I won't do, because there is thousands of bonsai books. But in the meantime, I was gifted with 4 generations, with grandchildren, and my eldest granddaughter, Inga, she's the mother of my first great-grandchild. And he also featured on the last page in this book.
The title, Opie's Boom Stories, translates to Opa or Grandfather's Tree Stories.
Yes.
And would you like to tell us what is the contents of the book?
What is in this book is each and every one of them has a story to tell about me. They sitting with me, looking at the trees. I gave them the opportunity, I gave them the tools, and I've showed them from 4 years, 5 years old, they started doing bonsai. The context of this book is just the story from a grandfather to a grandchild to learn to live life and to enjoy what is available for them in nature.
It's beautiful. Thank you very much, Johan.
Okay.
In conclusion, I leave Bloemfontein with a deeper sense of what bonsai means for us, and I look forward to returning again in October for their mini convention. Thanks for watching.